What's up, guys? Welcome back to Just JP. My name is Justin, and today, welcome to our first final thoughts video after listening to A Trick of the Tail by Genesis, which, if you haven't watched my previous videos and you're here, go back and watch those so you can at least see my initial reaction to those songs. And then this is me kind of revisiting the album and giving my complete and final thoughts after I've gone back and listened to it several times. So before we get into the main meat of my final thoughts on this album, first of all, I did it before, but I have to thank you guys for watching. It was awesome because I've always wanted to do an album from them, like listening to one, but this was kind of a way for me to step into that while still providing you guys reactions. I hope that you enjoyed me doing that, as I'm going to be doing it again. And speaking of doing it again, if you stay till the end of the video, somewhere near the end, I'll let you guys know what my next album review from Genesis is going to be. And yes, it will be from Genesis. So it's been about 3 weeks since I had finished listening to the album. Now I had spaced the videos so that I had time to listen to it on my own time and really gather my thoughts, read interviews, watch live versions of the songs, really just immerse myself in this album the way that it should be. And I have to be honest, this album has reignited my love for progressive rock. I never delved too deep into the rock side of progressive music before, but this album, it really inspired me to want to listen to more, not only of Genesis, of course, but of progressive rock in general. So with A Trick of the Tail, back when it was released, and of course in that time, there was a lot of uncertainty about Phil Collins taking over the lead vocals, stepping from behind the drum kit into the lead microphone. There was uncertainty about Peter Gabriel. Did the name, trademark, and sound of Genesis leave with him? Was he the heart of the band? And for me personally, you can tell that Genesis thrived. They lived on. They not only managed to survive the loss of Peter Gabriel, but they thrived. They absolutely nailed it. And this is proven right in the first few notes of Dance on a Volcano, their opening song. We've all heard it, so we're not going to listen to the full song. But immediately open with a bang. Immediately. Of course, it just grows from there and becomes more powerful, but getting into the singing portion of it, immediately any doubts that any Genesis fans had back in the day about Peter Gabriel leaving and Phil Collins taking over are immediately put to rest in this song. And of course, the verse ends with his powerful notes. Better start doing it right. Ringing it all in with that absolutely killer riff. Love Dance on a Volcano. Perfect opener. I feel like immediately from that moment, all doubts were cast aside. Phil, Mike, Steve, and Tony, they were back and they were doing their thing, and they were doing it well. As a whole and as a complete art of work, I really love this album. This may be because it's my first Genesis album, so I'm more inclined to love it. But even regardless of that, it is a great album. It's well balanced. Actually, I would say perfectly balanced throughout the whole thing. If I'm looking down the track list, and I have a bunch of notes here, and I have to actually, come to this for. I actually had to make notes for this one. I wanted to be accurate in what I was saying and feeling. It bounces back and forth from heavy to soft, light to dark. Dance on a Volcano, strong, powerful opener with a very memorable riff. Entangled, dreamy lullaby, just lulls you after the powerhouse of Dance on a Volcano. It's a beautiful rest down the mountain. And the ending of Entangled is probably one of the most beautiful moments that I've heard in my recent musical explorations. That is just pure magic right there. Pure magic. Squonk. Woo! Squonk is just a jam. And then Squonk also features one of the strongest vocal performances from Phil, and some of the best drumming. It's just fun to listen to. And that leads into Robbery, Assault, and Battery, which is a great platform for the drumming. I love Squonk. We'll get to the favorite stuff, but Squonk is crazy. Madman Moon, another softer song, but with such interesting interplay between the guitar and the piano. Then you have Robbery, Assault, and Battery, a more fun and upbeat song that doesn't take itself too seriously, more steeped in comedy, more steeped in drama, stage acting, but you can tell that they're having fun doing it. And then the always powerful ripples. Not only did Phil sing very well in that song in the first place, but he owned it. I feel like he owned that song. That's one of the songs where he just nailed it. Besides Squonk, I feel like this is just top tier. The guitar melodies from Hackett, the piano melodies from Tony, beautiful work between them, especially in the song Ripples. And then getting back into a little less serious of a bouncy song with A Trick of the Tail, the title track. Now, you guys may have seen my initial reaction and how I didn't really enjoy this song on a whole, and now, several weeks later, listening to the album several times, I like the way that it fits within the album, and I even enjoy it as its own little piece. It's just a fun little bop. And even still, there is some good stuff going on in there. I think the chorus is catchy. I like the chorus a lot. I do. Sometimes I just hum it. Ending with the beautiful Los Endos with several reprisals, several references, a reference at the end that I don't get yet. Probably some of the best drumming on the album. So you could tell that even with the leaving of their lead vocalist, they were still making music, which is obvious, but they were still enjoying making music. This doesn't sound like we lost our lead vocalist, we're wallowing in our grief and sorrow, and we're bemoaning his loss. No, they jumped into it, they got it done, but they got it done having fun along the way. And I'm sure they all reflect back on this album as not a sad occasion, but a happy and memorable one that they still had it. As I listened to the interview and I read a few other interviews and story pieces on this album and Genesis during this time, it's funny that initially they thought, and I can't remember if they exactly wanted or not, but they thought that this would be a more instrumental album, when actually there is a lot of singing involved. And with all of that singing, Phil absolutely nails it the whole way through. Even on the songs that I don't like as much, it's not necessarily because of his singing. I really enjoy this album as a whole. It is absolutely a favorite. I've been listening to it over and over and over again, not just in preparation for this specific video, but because I just enjoy listening through it as a whole. It's really been a great experience doing this, and I have a few interesting things here for you. So I have a list of certain things that I wanted to go through in case you were wondering or in case you wanted to know. My first one is my favorite moment. What was my favorite moment in this album? And for any future Final Thoughts videos, I'll be doing the exact same thing. So my favorite moment in this song is actually not part of one singular song. It's actually between two. I love the ending of Entangled and the way it just jumps right into Squonk. That is my favorite moment on this album. Let's just go back and revisit it briefly. Beautiful, beautiful. That is the moment. That, after being lulled to sleep in this dreamy state, after hearing that beautiful solo at the end with the Mellotron by Tony Banks, the way it just punches right into Squonk with that awesome beat, that is my favorite moment. That is my favorite moment on this album. My favorite lyric on the album is another thing that I want to do. My favorite lyric of the album is actually from Madman Moon, and it's in verse 3 when Phil Collins says, "Within the valley of shadowless death, they pray for thunderclouds and rain, but to the multitude who stand in the rain, heaven is where the sun shines." I really like that lyric, and I like the message behind it, because the other side isn't always better, right? The grass isn't always greener on the other side. So you may look at someone's life, whether it's through a screen or whether it's your neighbor next door or across the street. You may look at their life or one aspect and you say, man, they have it all. I wish I could have what they're having. But everyone has something that is a negative. Everyone has an issue underlying. So at the very same time, they could be looking at you like, man, I wish I had their lives. You know, we all want something that it looks like the other person has. But just because they have that portion doesn't mean they're not missing something else that they may want from us. So to compare oneself and one's life to another in that respect is more detrimental than anything. But I love the way that the lyrics are written. I like that a lot. To those who pray for thunderclouds and rain, like they're in the sun, they're dying, they're in the desert. The heat is just killing them. They pray for the rain, of course. But to those who stand in the rain, their joy, their thing that they look forward to is the sunshine. And then the star member of this album. This is not to discount anyone else in the band, but this is the member who I felt really nailed it. They did something special. They really stood out to me. I don't mean to sound obvious when I say this, but it has to be Phil Collins for stepping up, not only from the drum set, but for delivering such a great vocal performance really throughout the whole album, especially in songs like Squonk, and even Robbery, Assault, and Battery, and Dance on a Volcano, but then bringing the subtlety to beautiful songs like Ripples and Entangled. And then for those of you that like numbers, I took an extra step and decided to break this down by exactly how much I enjoyed not only this album, but each song. So I'll have that on the screen here just for you guys to see. But basically the way I did it is I listened to every song, I listened to the album, and I listened to the album like at least 20 times, like in different respects and different situations. But I went through the album with a stopwatch with each song, and every time there was a section or a part that I didn't like, I stopped the stopwatch. So that way, after listening to the whole song, I could exactly pinpoint how many seconds I enjoyed and didn't enjoy in the song, which my lovely wife had done the beautiful math and converted all that to percentages because I had no idea how I was going to do that. So, wife, if you can explain to the people before I, have all the numbers and everything, if you could explain off camera how you converted that, because I'm not the math kind of person, but I thought it was absolutely genius.
Okay, so we took a song, for instance, one of the songs was 7 minutes and 36 seconds, but he disliked 26 seconds of it. So we converted everything into seconds, and then you divide it. So 26 divided by 456 ended up being 5.7% once you move the decimal.
Okay, which you would subtract from 100.
Right.
And leave you
how much you actually did like.
Correct,
so
correct.
You didn't like it 5.7%, but you did like it
94.3.
Right.
Thank you, honey.
Whatever it is.
That's the number. I have it all written down here.
Yeah.
I had no idea how I was going to figure that out. And I just randomly asked her if she happened to think of a way and saved the day.
Anyway, that's like when you had fractions, remember you had to convert it to an improper fraction before you could do anything and then convert it into a mixed number at the end?
I was sick that day.
Okay. That's a whole grade.
So I'll have those total percentages up there on the screen for you just to read it easier. Dance on a Volcano, I enjoyed 100% of the time. Entangled, 100% of the time. Squonk, 100% of the time. Madman Moon, 94.3%. Robbery, Assault, and Battery, 71.5% I enjoyed. Ripples, 100% I enjoyed. A Trick of the Tail, 82.6%. And Los Endos, 100% I enjoyed. So overall, that equals for the album that there was 5.9% of the album that I disliked, which means that my pleasure meter, my like meter, whatever you want to call it, I liked 94.1% of the album. And that definitely rings true because I feel that this is a very strong album. I definitely enjoyed listening to it, and I will continue to listen to this over and over again just because I really enjoy it. Now, if I'm giving my final rankings for the song, my final rankings from best to worst, as I was doing this, it's not going to be exactly a best to worst. It's more going to be in sections. So, for example, my number 1 and number 2 song are definitely Squonk and Ripples. Squonk and Ripples are just, those are playlists. I have those on my playlist. I listen to them. I love them. They will never get old. I can tell you that already. Then in my second tier is songs that I like and songs that are awesome. They just didn't hit that additional emotional level for me, but they're amazing in their own right. That would be Madman Moon, Dance on a Volcano, Entangled, and Los Endos. And then rounding at the bottom would be A Trick of the Tail, which It's a very simple song, straightforward, but I do enjoy it. I don't feel like it's a bad song at all. I think that it's fun to listen to. I think the chorus is super catchy. It's just not a song that I would revisit as much compared to some of those higher on the list. And then Robbery, Assault, and Battery. There were sections of it that had grown on me the more that I listened to it, but overall I just didn't enjoy it as much. His singing was fun to listen to, but it's not something I would listen to pleasurably or for pleasure. And I gotta be honest, I really don't like the chorus. I detest the chorus of Robbery, Assault, and Battery. Just being honest with you. But either way, 94.1% for an album, that's pretty high. So there's nothing to complain about there. I really enjoyed this and I'll gladly be doing this again. And so we come to the end of this video. But I did promise you guys that I would reveal what album I would listen to next on the channel. And yes, it will be a Genesis album. So you Genesis fans, you guys are going to be happy that there will be more of that coming in the future soon. I could just tell you what the album is, but I thought it'd be more fun to draw you a picture of the album cover and see if you can figure it out. So I'll bring this in for you. Here's your album cover. Let me know if you figure it out. By the way, I'm super artistic. They'll never figure it out. No one has any idea what any of that means. It's a beautiful picture though, right? Like, I'm pretty artistic, you gotta admit. That's right, the next Genesis album that I will be doing here will be Foxtrot, released in 1972. Why did I choose this album? Well, I was going to do Wind and Wuthering because I really wanted to listen to that album, but I'm doing this album not only because it's relatively short, but I made a promise at some point, I don't really remember, I'm a little fuzzy on the details, but apparently I made a promise at some point that once I passed 1,000 subscribers, I would go ahead and do Supper's Ready, the song that all of you have been waiting for. And I figured what better time to do an album listen than to do the album that Supper's Ready is on. That way I just knock out all the songs, ending in the big climax of Supper's Ready. So we will work our way towards Supper's Ready. Obviously it's the last track on the album, so it's going to still be a little bit of time, but I want to have time to be able to delve into it, I don't know. Really enjoy it and absorb as much of it as I can. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to this album. There were a few of you that recommended it to me. Not a ton, but there were a few of you. I'll be curious to see, like, I've seen kind of part of the future. I'm kind of looking back at the past a little more to see where they developed from. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the videos. Hopefully you enjoyed this final thoughts video, because we'll have at least one more in the future. Let me know if there's any other bands, genres, or music that you want here on the channel. Let me know what could be improved for you as a viewer and as a watcher. And I'll do all I can over here on this end of things to make things sound and look as good as they can. Hope that you guys are having a great day. I hope that you, did I say that? I hope that you guys are having a great day. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. If it's the weekend, if it's a weekday, I hope you enjoy that as well. Get through the grind of work or school or wherever you're at. Come home, relax, watch a video or two, and you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. If you did enjoy the video, you can subscribe, you can like the video, you can share the video, post it somewhere. It helps a lot. Of course, I'll see you on the next one. Just JP. I'm out of here, guys.